All right, today I'm going to do something a little bit different for the 4runner. I'm going to do something a little bit fun. So I actually picked up a steering wheel and I'm going to go ahead and put it on the truck. I picked up this Nardi steering wheel. It's a 14.5-inch steering wheel. It was a used, so it's one of the older steering wheels. Picked up on eBay for a good price, and then picked up a NRG Quick Release adapter, and also picked up a steering wheel hub. So I will go ahead and link what models these are down below, and then obviously you can choose your own steering wheel from there. But I'm going to go ahead and get the old steering wheel off of the truck first, and we'll start working on getting these in. The first thing that I want to do on this is I actually would like to measure exactly kind of where out the how far out the steering wheel is currently, just so I can get a comparison, just to see how far this either pushes the new wheel out or in, depending on the hub spacing and all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a simple straight edge across the wheel, so make contact with the two high points here, and I'm going to measure it from the column cover here, so that way, because that won't change. So with both wheels, that should stay the same, so it should be a good measurement point for both of these here. So right there is at about 4 5/8. So 4 5/8 to the edge, the flat edge here. So that should be, when I put the new wheel on, we'll see kind of what the difference is between this wheel and the aftermarket wheel. Something also to show is I measured this before I ordered it because this is almost exactly the same size. It might be a hair smaller by just a few millimeters in diameter. So maybe 5 millimeters in diameter smaller. So this is actually a really good fit. I think it's a 365 millimeter wheel. It measures out to around 14.5 inches or so. So this should be a good fit in here. Obviously it'll sit like this. So let me go ahead and I'm going to start taking off the actual wheel itself here, and then we'll get the hub put on, and then we'll get the quick release put on and this put on. So what you're going to need to disconnect on here is you are going to need, see these small plugs right here? You have one of these on either side of the wheel, so you need to use a very small screwdriver, a small flat Phillips head, or some other pry tool to pop those out, and that'll give you access to the bolts that hold the horn in from there. You can see there's a Torx bolt in there. I didn't think about this until I bumped the horn and it went off. But disconnect your battery for safety. You don't want this thing blowing up on you as you're working on things. So disconnect it just so that you're clear. So these are a T27 Torx bit. There we go. We have the clip here for the airbag. Now your airbag's out. So from here, I'm going to disconnect this clip for now. There you go. And you just use the small screwdriver that you use to pop the sides off to just kind of push down on the bottom portion here to pop that out. I should have mentioned you should start with the steering wheel dead straight, so that when you put your hub on, everything's straight and right where you need it. So if you start with the wheel cocked to the side, you're going to have trouble getting in a line. Then you're always going to kind of be chasing where the center should be, and it can mess with your clock spring and all that. So start with the center so you don't have any issues. Okay, so now I'm going to use the impact on the 19 millimeter bolt that's in the dead center here. I'm going to use the impact just because it's going to be able to pull it off without torquing the wheel around or anything like that. If you are using a wrench, then just lock your wheel into place. So make it lock first, and then you should be able to wrench on it without it moving around. So they have pullers for this kind of stuff. so you can actually thread it on or whatever you need to do and kind of pull the wheel off appropriately. I've never really used one of those. I mean, I have one, but it's actually always really worked in the past for me to do something a little more rudimentary. And so sometimes it's just a matter of hitting the wheel, you know, in certain places, and sometimes just doing that alone will pull it off. I have a little more of a lowbrow solution to this. There we go. So it's loose, but now it's locked just to the side. So I'm going to put the key in, unlock it so that's dead straight again. We'll leave it there. Now, pull my nut, and now the wheel comes straight off. And there we go. Do not move your clock wheel. Don't do anything with it. Just let it sit exactly where it is. If you mess with this, you can throw off where the spring is sitting in there, and you're gonna have a bad time. And these things are not cheap, so you wanna let it just kind of sit where it lies. Don't mess with it. Let's get our adapter. What you need to do before you put your hub on is you need this plug, this particular small plug right here. This has the wiring that goes to your cruise control here, but it also has a wire that is going to work to the existing horn. That allows your horn to work when pressed is through this one single wire. You see there's the cluster of them together down here, and then there's this one individual wire right here. So we're gonna cut both of these off. I'm gonna cut this as far as I can here, just to give me as much room as I can for splicing afterwards. And then I'm probably gonna de-pin the other three just to get them out of there completely, because we're really only gonna use that single wire for this moving forward. And there we go. That's what we need. The rest of the wheel can go. It should go without saying here, but you are losing your cruise control when you do this. We're gonna be able to keep the horn, but the cruise control is gone. I mean, and obviously you're losing your airbag as well. So if those are a problem for you, don't do it, okay? This is not for everybody. I'm just gonna tape these 3 wires off. Deep-ending not working for me. Anyway, just gonna tape these off. Doesn't matter, it's gonna hide behind the wheel anyway. So tape those off, strip the end on this one, and get this one ready so I can run my horn wires. Okay, so there we go, simple. So now we can plug that guy in there, and we'll take the hub, run the airbag plug through there first, and then this other single red wire that's kind of hanging that we left, that we stripped. And now we can set our hub in place. So now I'm going to put my 19mm nut back in place. That ain't going nowhere. Something I should have done before putting this in is actually solder on my wire for the power source for the wheel that connects to the adapter. So the hub actually comes with this. So this just needs to connect to here. You've already got your ground here. The wheel itself will ground through the column. So the only one you need to hook up is this power. So not a big deal either way to do this in the vehicle. But if you're not used to soldering a lot, then this may be easier to just do outside of the vehicle, just so that you're not trying to deal with the challenge of doing this, you know, in an awkward position here. So. There we go. So my heat shrink over it. Let's see if we can do this in the wind here. There we go. Good to go. All right, so now need to put the quick release on. So I'm going to disconnect the top, adjust my base here. You have 2 wires. So you have the black wire, which is the ground, which is going to connect to the hub's black wire. And then the power, which is one we just soldered on, and that is going to connect, and that's the yellow wire that comes out of the bottom of the hub. That's going to connect to the red wire that we just soldered back on there. So get those guys connected, and then you can just see the NRG. If you're using the NRG stuff, the NRG will line up here. So I'm going to grab my bolts, and I'm going to bolt that sucker in there. So I'm using a set of hardware that I have just kind of sitting around for now. I will probably swap these out with something different. This is just kind of what I had. NRG comes with some of their own chrome bolts for the top, but I'm going to use those, or with the quick release. But I'm going to actually use those to bolt the wheel on. And then I just kind of had these sitting around. They go over the edge a little bit. It's not a big deal for just getting this on today, and I can replace them down the line. But this is just kind of what I have with me, just because I didn't have the extra set of bolts to put the wheel itself on. Great. Now the this end of the hub is in place over the quick release. So I've got the hub on, got the quick release on. Now all I really need to do is attach my wheel to this and then wire my horn. So I put these brass washers behind these, and I'm kind of undecided if I like them or not. I was thinking it would be kind of a cool little touch. I'm not sure if they look tacky or not. So whatever. What do you guys think? I mean, arguably the whole thing could be considered tacky, to be honest. Anyway, here's the wheel in place. It actually sits really nice. So I normally keep this one click above. So it actually seems to sit kind of right where I need it to be. Feels nice. It feels like it's the right size. I still need to get my horn in here, but for now, I figure I can show you guys and take that same measurement that I took earlier to determine how much further this wheel is out, because I'm sure it's out a little bit further. I just don't know exactly how far. So let's see. So we're at 5 3/4. So puts us what, in 1 1/8 inch out further. I think we're at 4 5/8 to start. So about 1 1/8 inch closer to me. If you ran like a perfectly flat wheel, this would probably stay in. I know NRG makes the hubs that are like a lower profile they make the quick release that's a little bit of a lower profile, and that may be a better fit if you need to be conscious of this. I mean, part of the beauty of the quick release is if it's too much of a problem, you get it out of the way, right? So, or you could direct mount. So if you didn't need the quick release function of this, you could just direct mount. This is a truck for me. It's kind of a project truck. I have a daily driver. I have my Tacoma that I drive every day. So this won't sit in my garage. So because it's going to sit outside, to me, this gives me a little extra security, being able to remove the wheel. It's just kind of something that's kind of cool as well. And it just kind of looks cool. So for a wheeler, I think it'll be a good fit. So anyway, let me go ahead and get the horn button installed, and then we'll be wrapped up on this, and that'll be that. Finally got my horn in. It's a little cheapy horn, but I thought it would fit for the truck. So real simple to install these. Everything's already been done, right? We've already wired everything up. All you got to do is just kind of hook up your black to black and yellow to yellow in here. Let's test it. Good to go. So just to show you, with the NRG Quick Release, they include this inner aluminum ring. It's got like a split in it, and it stuffs in there, and it allows you to run these simple horn buttons like this. And so when you get this put in here, let me tuck these wires in here and I'll show you. These little pegs sit right in there, and then the entire circle here, the plastic circle actually fits right within the center hole of the Nardi wheel. So these kind of push in. I'm trying not to beat my horn again at my neighbors. There we go. So it tucks in there. I might need to do a little centering there, but there it is. It fits in there perfectly. Now that I've got it in there, I actually really like these little brass washers that I put on here. I don't know why, they just kind of seem like they fit well with the wheel itself. So, but I really like it. So there it is. I mean, this is a pretty simple thing to do in most vehicles. I just had trouble finding the exact kind of part numbers and which hub would work, and there's kind of a lot of back and forth on a lot of the forums on what you can or can't use, and maybe you have to remove the clock spring. So this setup is pretty straightforward. It allows you to keep your clock spring in place, allows you to run your horn wiring really easily, and whatever wheel you need to. After driving with this wheel on here for a little bit, I think it's just such a fit. I think it's just kind of a cool look in here, just kind of a vibe. So I think I'm gonna keep it. I'm happy I did it. I'm happy with the way it turned out. Obviously this wouldn't be for everybody. It's probably not ideal for people with daily drivers, or people that, you know, consistently use their cruise control. But for me, this is gonna be perfect. And I think it's just kind of a cool fit, and I like it, so. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful to somebody. If you liked the video, hit a like on it, hit subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching.